day marvel, but terrible, better horrible. When he grabbed the mic from Son and crushed up all his metacarpals, he said he ain't mean it, totally by accident. After the show, he didn't follow where y'all taxi went. Will this be available on wax?
Welcome back to 613 Bodybuilding, 613bodybuilding.com. Boom! I stole that from Mark Lobliner. So welcome back to my channel. Today, in the spirit of 613bodybuilding.com, I'm going to have an interview with a fellow competitor. His name is Dave Berthiaume. I met Dave about 2.5, 3 years ago. Maybe it was 4, I have no idea. Introduced him to my friend, said this guy is huge, he's got to do a show. So Dave picked it up, he did a show, he won the Masters. With good justification. He's a huge looking guy, freaky, and he's going to do provincials, and I really think he's going to make it to nationals. I really think he's going to just sweep by, make it to nationals, and who knows where he's going to take it from there, because Dave has an awesome shape. He's a little guy, and he just packs on a lot of mass. So you'll see Dave, he's in his off season right now, but he still looks great. In fact, you probably couldn't tell with his beater on, but he's actually still got like a perfect six-pack. I think he might be at like 9% body fat, so he always stays kind of lean, and he flexibly eats. He as he has a career, and I think he keeps busy, but he's hardcore. He once told me he cooks in his truck with a slow cooker. So anyways, where there's a will, there's a way. That's bodybuilding. I also want to thank the gentleman who shot the video. He's a guy who usually goes to the local gym, talks to me. He subscribed to my channel, found my videos, and he said he found the video on the six-pack bag and thought it was a really cool concept, and he had never seen it before. So I think it's great when I get to share things like that with the guys coming up, trying to get into the game. He's a natural lifter in his early 20s, trying to make the best of his natural potential, and he looks great. I mean, he has like 17-inch arms. He just looks awesome. So kudos to him. If you're watching, I know you watch the videos, so thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. You're doing a great job. I'll give a shout out to you in one of the videos, actually, maybe get you doing something or just an interview, because I think you're gonna make a big impact, in a couple of years. Okay, so that being said, this is the segue into the video. I don't want to be too long. I'm gonna shoot I already shot the segment. I'm gonna show you the segment with Dave, and then we're gonna get to talking about protein, real food versus protein powders, because I see this big debate online. So that's next. For now, let's transition over to Dave at the Cellar Raw. We'll do a quick set, or he'll do a set. I didn't take any of my sets. Why? You guys have seen me do sets a million times. Let's go to Dave.
Modern day marvel, but terrible, better horrible.
This is my good buddy, Big Dave. I met Dave 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, I said this dude's big as shit. Like, he might have been the biggest guy I had ever seen for a senior citizen. Yeah, I thought he was Lee Priest at the gym. So Dave, we got Dave into competitions. Well, I shouldn't say we did. Our friend Jerome. Yeah. You were gonna do it anyway. That's right. Yeah. But you want to tell the story, maybe?
I was in the gym working out, and Paul comes up to me and says he wants to introduce me to his friend Jerome. So I met Jerome at his place, and Jerome convinced me to do a competition. Told me he'd be there for me every step of the way, and he was. And I did my first competition, and I won the Masters Championship for Ottawa in 2013. And now I'm going to go do the provincials in June 6th.
Big things for Big Dave. I see this guy smoking a Masters division. If you guys see his show pics, you know what? I'll post some of your show pics. You're going to be on 613bodybuilding.com or in your bio. All right, Big Dave.
Thank you very much.
And I'll show you nice and shredded, because when he's shredded, he's freakish. How much did he weigh?
205.
And then you carved up and you were like...
Oh, I carved up to 235.
Insane.
You got who they talking to. Too much pork stew. They need to not come out with nothing new. Blew the whole shit up on some what this button do. Doom cheat the game like walkthrough. Run them, son them like Mr. Rourke do tattoo. The way a lot of clowns get down is unnatural. This flow flip like oranges, apples. Rhymes is like lime to a lemonade snapple. Leave it at the chapel, don't eat scrapple. First thing they notice when they come to is they bling is gone. Then they start remembering the Klingon with the rings on. In came the villain with the old gear like hi there. Y'all played the rare, this whole year my year. Metal face beard like Brillo pad. Y'all know his still so don't feel.
So I'm back, and I, as promised, want to talk about the protein powder versus real food debate. So several videos on this. This isn't in response to any one of the videos in particular. Like I mentioned, Dan Griffith did a video on this. Dan's opinion is that macros are macros, although, you know, integrating real food is probably a good idea as well. I mean, just the protein powder, get your source from protein, get your source from real food. Rick Piana was more in favor of real food versus supplements. He's always made it his thing that supplements do not add up to real food. And then Mark Lawbliner, I didn't get a chance to watch the video, being that he represents a supplement company. Not that he'd have a particular bias, but I am assuming that Mark would agree that a macro is a macro, and protein powder does have the highest bioavailability, and why could it be bad? So here are my 2 cents, right? Protein powder versus whole food. So in a nutshell, protein powder is good. There's nothing wrong with protein powder, period. When I'm dieting, when I'm cutting, I like a nice controlled diet. Right now, I'm on a nice controlled diet. I'm not taking in any protein powder, to be honest with you. 12 weeks, about 14 weeks out, I cut the protein powder. Why? It's a quick digested protein. I prefer amino acids during my workout. In terms of bioavailability, food sources, may have a different bioavailability depending on the source, and whether you're fully digesting it or absorbing it. You are digesting it. Whether you're fully assimilating it, should I say, is up for debate. And there's tons of tests, but I'm pretty sure in vivo versus in vitro. You can never really trust these tests 100%. But what we do know is that these foods digest at different rates. So you have steak, really slow. You have chicken, I think a slower rate. And then you have something like egg whites that are probably fairly quick. Egg whites, I think, would be comparable to protein powder or whey in a sense that you just slam it down and it kind of hits you like that. I don't think the digestion rate, especially if you're having liquid egg whites, is too slow. Now, in my off season, I like to slam down a bunch of egg whites. I like to eat with frequency. In my off season, I'm eating. My off season is protein powder, egg whites, protein powder, egg whites, eggs, chicken when I get my hands on it, steak when I get my hands on it. But I tried to stay away from red meat in my off season. I think my philosophy or my eating habits will change in the upcoming off season. I stayed lean enough this off season, and I didn't really touch too much red meat. But I'm integrating one red meat meal in my diet right now, as per Tony Searle's recommendation. Hope Tony doesn't mind me divulging a tidbit about his diet, but it really seems to help. I eat it before going to bed, and I guess it's essentially the same thing as some like cottage cheese, So digestion rates. I'm just going to backtrack and not get too off topic, but digestion rates do matter. The way you're digesting your food, I just mentioned cottage cheese. It's a caseinate. Okay, you can get a caseinate supplement. You can get a caseinate protein powder. I guarantee you that pound for pound is probably going to be more expensive than you get caseinate from cottage cheese you buy at the grocery store. So why even bother? So pros and cons. There are pros. Protein tastes great. Protein's awesome. You can make shakes. Like MP has these awesome vanilla chocolate mint. I can drink that stuff all day. It's like a dessert. I can make tons of desserts out of protein powder. In fact, I can make protein powder that tastes really good. So protein has its place. Protein is fast digesting. Most hydrolysates hit you, bam! Like protein powder, like hydrolysates will hit you quickly. So when you're done your workout, you need amino acids during, throw it in a hydrolysate. Although research does show that protein timing really doesn't matter. So again, does it matter? I don't know. But at the end of the day, what does matter is you have a protein trickle. So if you have a protein trickle, you're eating real food, or you're eating protein powders, you're probably going to have a trickle. You're going to have a trickle from the meal you had before, and you're going to have powder. Could you live without protein powder and do well in bodybuilding? Absolutely, absolutely do really well. In fact, I think if I got rid of all my supplements and stopped being lazy, I'm going to admit it. I'm going to be the first to admit it. In my off season, I get lazy. Like, I don't want to cook 5 chicken breasts a day. So I'll supplement that with protein powder and egg whites. If I was to cook those 5 chicken breasts and eat them every 2 hours, and then have a steak, and then have something, and I get that constant trickle. And with consistency, I can measure my food. I'm all about this measuring foods at this point, because I am in show prep, and when you're in show prep, you're a little bit more thorough and diligent. So by measuring my food, I can see, you know, what variables are coming in and coming out, and I can isolate variables. Okay, I have 6 meals a day, I'm putting this in, I'm not gaining. What I do, I add an avocado, I add some more fat, I add some more essential fatty acids, or vice versa. Instead of adding fats, I add some more carbs, I add a cup of brown rice, I add 2 cups of brown rice, depending on where it's going. You know, you can isolate these variables much more efficiently, effectively, than just, I'm gonna chug protein every hour, and which I tend to do in my off season. And you know, am I eating too much? You kind of get a sense of where you're going. But anyways, that's where I'm at with this. You know, protein powder versus real food. Do I have a preference? No, I will use protein powder in my off season. But for, you know, simplicity's sake, if I want to do things really properly, I would recommend that you go out and buy yourself some good, decent food. Buy yourself some chicken breasts. Cook your chicken breasts. Stop being lazy. So I am with Rick Piana on that one. You know, protein has its place, because you know what? You can't be on your A game 100%. You go on vacation, you're gonna, trust me. I went to the Maritimes for my cousin's wedding. Then I was best man at my buddy's wedding. Trust me, when I was best man in Toronto, if you are American, it's something like New York. My traffic to one end of the city to the other was like 3 hours. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was picking up suits for guys. It would take me all day. So what did I do? I slammed back egg whites, proteins. I think at the time I was using that one with the fiber and Hexapro. A lot of Hexapro filling me up because I needed to stay full, and I was like 260 pounds at the time. Okay, so they have their place. Protein powders are not bad. Protein powders are your friend, but real food is awesome. And if you can do it, eat as much real food as possible. That's it. Peace. But that's something my roommate would have done 10 years ago. So I know I'm getting old. I'm out.